name is Ibrahim Sani. That CV is a little bit more illustrious than I would have imagined, but generally speaking, covers most of what I want to do for this afternoon's topic. First of all, I would like to thank MIM for giving me this opportunity to speak to you directly. Second of all, I think this is an extremely crucial event because what we want to do here at the Ministry of Economy is trying to boost up the participation of not just the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, but to also inspire you to advance yourselves in the realm of technology and leveraging digital innovation moving forward. So those are very critical topics that I will be covering over the next 20 minutes. I also encourage you guys to grab the microphone on the floor and ask anything you want to ask me, because generally speaking, it's going to be tough staying awake at 3:30 p.m. on a Monday. So please, if you feel sleepy, just grab the mic and we'll have a dialogue. Okay, first things first. Yayasan Peneraju is an agency under the Ministry of Economy, or previously known as the EPU, or Economic Planning Unit. What we do here at the Ministry of Economy is that we're in charge of the developmental expenditure budget of the budgetary allocation. Finance Ministry handles the rest, but the development part, that's handled mostly by Ministry of Economy. That DevEx is actually aimed at longitudinal gain, trying to improve on the societal well-being and upward mobility of the nation. It comes in various forms, but for now, we want to talk specifically on talent development. But to which purpose? Talent development to actually leverage innovation in technology, specifically for micro and small, medium-sized enterprises and business owners like yourselves. That's the function of Yayasan Peneraju. However, to be transparent, Yayasan Peneraju's target segment is predominantly Bumi Putras. However, for Sabah and Sarawak, that practically means the entire state of Sabah and the entire state of Sarawak. So that is the main focus moving forward under my tenureship as the leader of Yayasan Peneraju inside the EPU, or Ministry of Economy. So that's where we function. Now, what do we do? The first thing that we need to understand is that there are things that we are terminating or sunsetting inside Yayasan Peneraju. The two things that we are sunsetting are called the Peneraju Tunas, or academic, i.e. giving scholarships to Bumi Putra students to further their studies in bachelor's program, in post-degree program, as well as in schools. We're terminating that. Second, we're terminating is the medical specialization program, i.e. making housemen or house officers get their membership at medical offices and then from there on becoming specialists. The reason is because these two do not fit our mold of trying to bring about longitudinal gain and improve on upward social mobility of the nation. They can be addressed by other agencies, it just won't be addressed by Yayasan Peneraju. The third and fourth programs that we do, we in fact want to entrench even deeper, i.e. Peneraju Professional, where we train chartered accountants, chartered financial analysts and the like, and the fourth, which is Peneraju Technology, which is training more data scientists, data analytics, business intelligence officers, system analysts, cybersecurity experts, and the like. The most important thing about these two is that when we terminated the Tunas as well as specialization, more funds are freed up for us to spend more on growing professional as well as technology. And this is the part where I urge you as business owners and owners of micro and small, medium-sized enterprises to dig deep and try to understand where the core competency is lacking in your organization, and try to see if you can leverage off each other and build some sort of a shared services or collective service to ensure that you guys get to grow your business in an area where you never expected to grow before. The fifth is the most fun one, which is called Peneraju Skill, or TVET. There are 5 areas of TVET that we want to focus on. The rest we won't do. Right now we have over 200 TVET programs I'm terminating or have terminated. All of them. Semua out of the window. Why? Because it's being addressed, again, by other agencies. So which are the 5 high growth, high value, high potential sectors that Yayasan Peneraju is going to dig deep in? These 5 are located inside the midterm review of the 12th Malaysia Economic Plan, or 12th Malaysia Plan. These 5 are, in order of importance, the HGHV based on energy transition, digital and technology, high value E&E, agro-based and agriculture industry, and finally, rare earths. To grow these sectors, we believe we need all the help we can get. Right now, the biggest problem, at least for Yayasan Peneraju, is trying to find the relevant learning and training institutions to help train talents in these 5 areas. So imagine the fact that we want to deep dive into this area and train more people in this space. There aren't trainers. So that's one idea that you can take away from my talk this afternoon. Perhaps becoming an LTI in this space could be an idea for you. The second area of concern is the industry itself is not that big for now, but it will be big in the years to come because energy transition takes a long time and a long gestation period to build. It also needs a lot of capex to be pumped in, including a lot of network to be built. And some states are more interested in energy transition than others, and some regions do the same as well. So perhaps we are literally in the wrong place right now because PJ, Selangor, Wilayah Persekutuan, Klang Valley are great in a lot of things. But are we great in energy transition? Do we really need to relocate our operations elsewhere to a point where we can actually embrace local governments and local authorities that can actually be supportive of energy transition activities and give you a little bit more in terms of capex injection as well as tax breaks? That's idea number 2 that you could think of. The third is, of course, talent management and talent creation. At Yayasan Peneraju, starting January, we have added 25% fresh headcounts into our OPEX. That 25%, 20% is in technology services. The other 5% are the ones and twos of boxes that I add in various departments, in procurement, in HR and the like. But the 20% from that 25%, or 4/5 of the growth, is coming in from talent development in Yayasan Peneraju when it comes to technology services. And why is that? When I arrived at Yayasan Peneraju, there's only one guy with a ponytail and very advanced in age. I would say that he's not a youth lah. He knows how to hook up computers and put Wi-Fi on. Great guy, he still works with us, I love him. Knows nothing about data, knows nothing about business intelligence, let alone data analytics, and more or less he gets completely clueless about predictive behavior and predictive and cognitive testing that we need when we assess our talents. And the reason is because there was no senior support to grow that particular function inside Yayasan Peneraju. So becoming a champion in your organization to bring about digital growth and digital competency in your organization, no matter how small your company can be, is actually quite crucial. Because without your support, you will not grow your digital arm. That's idea number 3 that you can take away from this particular talk of mine this afternoon. Finally, I want to talk about what kind of core competency that you need to build. Your companies require different set of skills that may not necessarily be similar to one another, even though you might belong in the same industry, even though you might belong in the same business line and market. But you know what your company lacks. The very best thing that you can do is apportion a little bit of your OPEX, and I know margins are already thin, if not negative. But how can you grow if you do not want to even look at the potential of growing your talents inside technology services? Now, it's completely understandable if you do not know what to grow upon inside your technology services. We are all past our 40s. I have entered that space about 2 weeks ago. I have lost my hair 5 years ago, and I blame my father squarely on that point. But one thing is for certain, young people know what your company needs if you are able to set aside your ego and set aside your inability to comprehend how they speak and try to see what they are trying to say. That's the point, because young people know where the growth areas are. What they need is maturity, a little bit of guidance, and more importantly, instructions to move ahead. But for growth, potential, acknowledgement, and identification, the youth are there for you. Rely on them. And trust me, they don't cost that much. I'm talking about gaji or salary, wages. It does cost you emotional damage, but I guess we can't quantify that now, can we? Okay? So these are the areas of thinking of space that we're looking at right now. And I want to share with you an idea of what we have been doing in terms of growing the micro SMEs when it comes to technology innovation. One program that we rolled out in the peripheries of Sabah, we targeted a few rural areas, including Kota Belud, Kota Marudu, Tawau, Semporna, Kalabakkan, and Kundasang. These are the areas that we penetrated. We collaborated with the Ministry of Unity, Kementerian Perpaduan. They have a foundation called Yayasan Sukarelawan Siswa. YSS collects and enrolled and tried to entice the local communities from these areas that I've mentioned earlier to join our program. The program is funded entirely by the Ministry of Economy through the money coming out of Yayasan Peneraju. The content and the syllabus was crafted by UiTM Sabah, accounting faculty. So through this tripartite program rollout, Yayasan Sukarelawan Siswa, Yayasan Peneraju, and UiTM Sabah, we developed a very simplistic model to train entrepreneurs, specifically women rural entrepreneurs in rural Sabah who already own businesses. That is how precise our program design is. Those that are not yet into the business space, we could keep them in the KIV list. Now, when we have narrowed down that specificity to be as such, we have to be a little bit lenient in terms of the age band of participants joining us. For that particular program, we have participants as old as 65. Most of them are in their 50s. Some of them are in their 20s. 80% of them are women. Only 20% of them are men. There, some of them do not even read that well. They can read. I don't think illiteracy is the problem here. They just can't read that well. Let alone reading contracts. Let alone reading English. So the tutors from UiTM Sabah actually spoke the KDMR language, or Kadazan Murut Bajau Rungus language, so that they can actually reach to their target participants directly. And we actually had to split between the coastal ethnicities, or the Bajau, Sulu, and Melayu, away from the KDMR, the Kadazan, Murut, Dusun, and Rungus, because they tend to speak differently and they tend to not like, I guess, working collectively together. That's how it is there. But when we sorted that one out, we have gotten tremendous results in terms of them increasing their upward social mobility at the grassroots level. How do we know this? Because we have traces study when we roll out these programs. One such candidate of the recipient of our program, she develops two product lines. One is the yellow mee, another one is bihun. She realizes that she's selling both at 1 ringgit 50 cents per packet of each. When we taught her unit price economics, she has identified that cost per unit per packet is actually vastly different. For the yellow mee, cost per price is 1 ringgit 30 cents. For bihun, it's 10 cents. Meaning, the margin that she sells per packet for yellow mee is 20 cents. For bihun is 1 ringgit 40 cents. And of course, she just dumps the other product line, focuses on the one that has the high margin. And as you know, in fact, you can lecture me better than I can on this topic. When you have a monoline product at the manufacturing line, your cost per unit actually goes down and your productivity actually goes up, furthering or widening her margin per packet. This is just a very simplistic snapshot of the kind of impact that we bring right down at the grassroots level on trying to improve the micro business that that particular candidate is actually running. And that is the part where we believe that we are playing the right role moving forward. How do we bring this about through digital and innovation? She has automated her production line and she has resulted in a very simple way of optimizing her marketing channels through TikTok. That is her way of innovating and leveraging digital innovation for her micro SME. She's lucky because her employees are all her grandchildren. They're not in Sabah with her, they are in KL with us. But because of digital leveraging technology, they are helping their grandma in Kundasang, growing her business on TikTok while being manufacturing there, literally, bihun in Kundasang. And where does she sell it? She sells it at KK, Kota Kinabalu, about 2 hours, 3 hours away. I mean, this is just an imagination that can draw wonders. And I can draw you more stories like this. We have 70,000 here at Yayasan Peneraju, the scholars, on how this is being innovated right now. Now, I can go on the other side, right? Because we developed over 7,000 chartered accountants in the pipeline. 3,000 are certified chartered accountants. Imagine that. We have 30,000 chartered accountants, 40,000 members of MIA, or Malaysian Institute of Accountants. 10% of them is contributed directly, attributable to Yayasan Peneraju. Now, each and every single one of them have their own story in terms of leveraging digital technology. But espousing the Minister of Economy's wishes, he does not believe that the needle to change comes from the professional class, people like me. He is actually not as impressed of my work, for instance, as opposed to the work of micro entrepreneurs and small entrepreneurs. He believes that economic multiplier lies not in those that add value. Economic multiplier lies in those that create value. People like you in this hall. For you are the true value creators. Espousing that firm belief, he wants to see more of Yayasan Peneraju scholars leave employment and start their own businesses. And what better way to start your own business if not leveraging on digital technology? Hence why at Yayasan Peneraju moving forward 2025, we're going to be deepening our offering, making products a little bit cheaper, courses a little bit cheaper, perhaps be in competition with MIM. I apologize beforehand for that one. Or we can even partner with MIM, for they are true innovators in delivering these technology services programs like digital analytics, business intelligence and the like, because we want to bring the cost as low as possible. As low as possible. For we want to increase enrollment in our technology programs. And in doing so, we are widening the enrollment period as well. So we're not just limiting to those, 25 and below, for instance, or those unemployed. No, actually, we want to teach you guys, those in the age bracket of 25 to 65, how to be upskilled and reskilled in technology know-how. That is our game moving forward. Okay? So that is item number 5, which is how to increase enrollment. And perhaps you yourself can join us. Now, I can end here. However, I'll be happy to take 1 or 2 questions from the floor. Yes. There's a microphone on the right.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you for sharing with us the interesting programs that is initiated by your good office. May I make a recommendation? Because your focus is on innovation, the simplest innovation model is R&D, commercialization, product process. Yeah. So you have mentioned that you had scholarships, but now you have removed them. Could I recommend, in addition to the scholarships for technology studies, could you also introduce, very importantly, on financing, private equity, venture capital financing, so that many Malaysians will be exposed to valuation, assessment, due diligence. Because as you can see, we have been reported that many technology companies left Malaysia because evaluation wasn't here.
Thank you, ma'am. It seems like you've been sitting in one of our EXCO meetings because that's exactly what we're trying to do as well. So the three partners of ours inside the Ministry of Economy that deals with this flow, talent flow and capital flow of Bumiputra talents inside Ministry of Economy is actually Yayasan Peneraju, who develops the talents and funnel them into the ecosystem builder Teraju, and then we funnel them into the private equity firm Equinas. And you are dead on spot and hitting the nail on the head when it comes to training capital owners to be a little bit more savvy in private money or in private debt, private capital. And that's why Equinas is introducing private credit as a product. They're going to be launching in Q4. For Teraju, they're developing a program collectively with Yayasan Peneraju on developing a class of Bumiputra value creators through venture capitalists. So we're going to be creating a lot of Bumiputra GPs or general partners that will have their own firm and trying to deploy capital through their own firm. Yayasan Peneraju will provide the training, Teraju will provide the capital. More importantly, trying to see how we can use that particular knowledge and get more funding from more Bumiputra asset holders, not just buy more property that will increase in value on paper but is illiquid and you can't even flip the asset because nobody really has the money to buy these assets at that particular cost. So instead of funneling that particular capital in that space, why not become a general partner or a limited partner funding into these VCs? That is a clear way of moving forward when it comes to capital ownership. Thank you very much, but that's exactly what we're doing right now. However, I fear that we might not be able to announce anything anytime soon, so it looks like it's going to be next year, at least for that topic. Thank you very much. Other questions, please? I maybe have one more question, yeah?
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Anwar from Malaysian Financial Planning Council. Just would like to check on how do you qualify the recruits for Yayasan Peneraju programs? Thank you.
So the qualification standards are actually quite varied. It just depends on which programs that they apply. Let's look at the demographic data first. First, we use some of the programs require age band, some of the programs require minimum academic qualifications, some of the programs require income, but that is just the first level, which is demography. The second level is on psychography, where many of the programs, we now, before this we haven't done this, where we interview directly. We normally rely on program partners and program managers to do the recruitment for us. But since this year, we have deployed Yayasan Peneraju staff to join in the intersection of interviewing these candidates, where there's a set of questions that we ask on identifying the psychographic analysis of these individuals. If this individual is more predispositioned to be a business leader, then we will park them under the entrepreneurship pathway while they are learning that particular program that they take with us. If this individual is more of a community builder, then immediately this individual will be parked under the community track. Finally, if the person is more of a professional type, then we will park this person under the professional trade type pathway. So that's on the psychography. Finally, we move into sociography. Where is the linkages between this individual on being a coalition builder, on being a risk taker, and on being an innovator in its own right? So once we have identified the level of possible ability for them to be an innovator, risk taker, and coalition builder, we then try to move them or mobilize them to become a leadership path on top of one of these three pathways. So there's a multifactorial way of doing things. I would like to liken it to, football manager when we were playing when we were younger. Where there is an assessment of how good that person's traits are, tackling, defending, heading, running, pace, shooting, long range, and then you would identify that particular player into as such. And then, of course, you would have that particular player's positioning. This particular player is better off as a winger, as a defender, as a striker, and so on. This is the same thinking that we're putting for our own talents. It's still in its nascent stage, and we are deploying some of the pilot testing on this, but generally speaking, that's what we're doing moving forward, at a scalable rate, of course, at 70,000 scholars. One final one. Kana, okay. I'm very accessible, so you can reach me anytime. Thank you very much.